Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Snow Talk. This is Wave 3 meteorologist Brian Good in for Kevin tonight. And he knows when to leave town, doesn't he? I'm noticing this. Now the weather gets a little crazy. And once again, we're talking about another wintry threat as we head into the weekend. Hard to imagine, considering how nice it was today with the temperatures in the 60s. This one is going to be different, although similar to other events. I know it sounds confusing. Let me explain real quick. The difference is that we're now in mid-March. So the temperatures aloft, temperatures at the ground level. We've had some warm days, not for several times now since the beginning of the month. And we're now talking about more of a higher sun angle at play. So there is a lot more against a major snow event than there was for, say, if this was a January, February event. So that's got to be considered. And the models don't always gauge that well. It's up to us as meteorologists to put that into play. And secondly, what is similar about this is, if you remember the last one, sleet really ate up a lot of the profile of the atmosphere when that system came through. When we were expecting a lot of freezing rain, then a lot of snow, and in some cases, the models are spitting out 10 inches of snow, and it ended up being 6 inches of sleet in many areas. That is similar with this system, is that I think that the sleet, because the ratio for sleet is usually an average of 2 to 1, is going to be very similar in this profile, that I think that could eat up a lot of the moisture as well. And that is skewing some of the models here with some of these snow totals. I'll show you that in a second, which is leading to a little bit of hype that's going around on the internet with some of these totals. And I want to make sure we clarify that with this video. We start you off with the good news. Even at this hour, I mean, we're closing out 10 o'clock here as I'm recording this video. It's 60 degrees outside. I got, 44 for a low, but if this south flow holds on a little bit longer, we may have to raise that. But overall, just a pretty mild night tonight, and I hope you are enjoying it. On the satellite, we've had that band of showers. Again, as we were talking about last night in the video, just was not very, we were talking about the main threat would be Cleveland to Louisville for any type of rain. I wasn't too excited about anything falling here, and that's exactly what happened. It's just too dry for it to move through. And those winds, man, they were just so strong today. The wind advisory did come out later in the day. But notice, it's hard to see here on the image, but there is clear skies moving back in. So we're setting up for a sunny Saturday, and I know a lot of you are excited about that. But here is the guy that we're watching. It's the area of low pressure that's going to be developing. And at the same time, we do have an impulse of colder air that's going to be drugged down the northwest flow. And the two of these are going to develop into a significant storm for the southeast part of the country. It's going to have severe weather on the south side, ice in some portions, and then heavy snow in a very narrow portion. Because, again, this is mostly a warm system versus a cold one. So this will be mainly more rain and severe weather than anything. So having said that, let me show you the NAM model, because a lot of people are discounting the NAM model, but I actually like it as far as how it's developing the profile versus the European and the GFS, which for some reason, they're really suppressing it. And the GFS always has a tendency to suppress storms to the south, which has given a much more impressive snow event for northern Kentucky. The NAM has been trying to trend a little north, which has given a more of this area a more wintry threat. And I think that's really the trend to go with here. A lot of these systems have a tendency to go north in time, especially when they come in from the southwest. That southerly flow can be very overwhelming, and the models just hardly ever get that right. We try to trust the models the best we can, because we can't discount them when they all kind of say similar things. At least several models say these similar things. But at the same time, we have to go with our scientific knowledge here, too, and climatology, that you got to go with the warmer solution in some cases. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here with this model. So let me show you how it plays out. And this is going to be updating here in the next 30 minutes. And if it's dramatically different than what I'm showing you right now, I will let you know on another post on Facebook or something like that. And certainly I will in the news tonight at 11. But here's how it stands for the evening run. First off, tomorrow afternoon, dry. I mean, it's going to be great. St. Patrick's Day Parade in the Highlands. I'm going to try to out there and say hi to all my Irish friends in the Highlands tomorrow. So I hope you get a chance to get out and enjoy Saturday, because it'll be in the 60s. I got 64 in. And again, I'll watch the temperature trend tonight. And I may raise the numbers a little bit for tomorrow. But overall, very similar to today. Okay, here we go with the system. Moving in. You see the two effects. If you look carefully, you saw the cold air trying to work its way into the north here. And you've got that warm, humid air now developing across the south. And the rain is forecast 8 a.m. I've got a rain chance in Saturday. I think I'm going to take that out completely, because the trend has been to make this more of a morning event Sunday. And I don't want to confuse people with a rain chance on Saturday. So I'm going to take the rain chance out Saturday and stick it all on Sunday with my 11 o'clock update tonight on the news. So it's got rain moving in. Then as the low gets into areas of Tennessee, it's hard to see in this map, but the low is right here, and it's dry slotted. See the little pocket of dry air here at the bottom. That is where the main core of the lowest forecast. Now, again, the European and GFS were further south into Alabama with this. The NAM takes it up to this level, which then pushes the warm air surge further to the north as well. At this point, after the midday hour, it's saying there's just enough cold air on northern counties makes see snow, and then in here it could be sleet or even freeze and rain because temperatures are forecast to be in the lower 30s in that area, and that is going to be the big question mark. Then as we get into the afternoon, it's showing a complete breakdown of the atmosphere as far as the structure and temperature because the precip rates are forecast to be pretty heavy through here, and this should cause some dynamic cooling, and the models are going bonkers with that and really dropping the atmosphere down to a very cold level to support snow, heavy snow, in fact, and sleet and freeze and rain. Notice that pocket of dry. That is the dry slot I was talking about earlier. The center of the low at this point will be moving in to areas of central Tennessee and maybe even southern Kentucky. What I'm fearing is that the models have been running too cold, and I got a feeling this warm air layer is going to be a little further to the north of what we're showing here. So I think it's going to be mainly sleet, not sold yet on freeze and rain. And even if we did drop to 30 or 31 degrees with rain, technically, yes, that's freezing rain, but we have a warm ground. So concrete areas probably wouldn't even freeze up. It would mainly be trees, maybe cars, and elevated objects in general would see freeze and rain threat. But as far as travel goes, I really think the impact would be pretty minimal, even with freeze and rain along the area, and a better chance for just more snow in the deeper cold air to the north. So I think it's going to be a little different of a profile. I think it's going to be more sleet. And again, if there is freeze and rain, I'm not that overly concerned about it right now based on the ground counteracting that. And then as we head into the late evening hours, this is fast too, by the way. The system's been speeding up on every model run. A band of snow. And this I actually could buy because I think the center of the low at this point is off to the east, and the cold air really will get wrapped in. And what is interesting about this is that in order to get snow and these kind of low pressures in March, you've got to have heavy precip rates. It's got to come down hard. If you can get it come down hard, you're going to get these darker blues to become reality, and you're going to get snow. And in some cases, big flakes, and it'll accumulate fast. Roads will probably just be wet, but it'll be a heavy accumulating snow in grassy areas. By all means, that's certainly possible. But when it begins to ease up, you say it gets confused here on the backside. Normally we would see that be all snow, but it's trying to switch it back over to rain or even freeze and drizzle. That is possible because when this eases up on the backside, some of you may see a burst of snow in the evening hours, and then you go back to rain before it ends. That's possible, and it probably would be freeze and drizzle. So it's all about the precip rate, and it's all about the track. I mean, there's a lot at play on this, but these are the kind of systems that can produce surprises. I'm not going to discount that. And then it's out of here by the time we get into Monday morning's rush hour period. Hopefully, given that kind of a scenario with a heavy wet snow and wet roads or even freezing rain on elevated objects and roads kind of slick in a few areas, hopefully we're talking about a delay situation with schools and not closings because it is going to warm up throughout the day on Monday, and that would alleviate a lot of the problems, and that would help the school calendar out. But that's not our decision. It's the school's decision, obviously. So now let me show you the accumulation maps. I got 2 minutes left. I'm on camera to issue my disclaimer. These are just model maps. I'm trying to explain the reality of them. Don't panic. All right. Here we go. The first one. This is the RPM model. It's updating about every few hours. Here's the latest numbers. Yep. 7.1, 10.4. Okay. You see what's happening here. It is further to the south. It's picking up that burst of heavy snow. I wouldn't rule out heavy snow, but I would cut these mounts in half, if not a little more than half, as a potential heavy snow amount. I think it's way too high. So I would say a 2 to 4 inch band, maybe 5 inches would be possible if this were to model verify and it is going to the south and we get that heavy burst of snow and the precip rate is heavy enough. I would not rule out 2 to 5 inches of snow if that were to come in reality. I still think it's going to be further north, but this is what the RPM model says, but ignore the totals, cut them in half. All right, now as we go along to the NAM model, very similar idea, although it's going more to the north as we talked about, but I still think it's got more of a sleet factor mixed into here than it does all snow, so I would cut these amounts in half as well. So 2 to 5, maybe 2 to 6 inches is what we're talking about instead of a 4 to 10 inch band. I would cut that in half. That's the reality of it, and very little, if anything. Of course, we get dry slotted too on the NAM model and mostly rain to the south, and that would make, again, much more sense to me right now. And then the GFS model, which it sometimes never knows what to do. It's just giving out very light amounts of snow, and it's more of a freeze and rain. I'm not even going to show the freeze and rain maps. We do have some on there for accumulation, but again, this is not an ice storm scenario. We're not going to dive into the teens. mainly upper 20s. And again, I think it's mainly going to be elevated objects that would freeze up. The roads, the warm ground may win out against this. So this doesn't look to be a major impact storm, but there could be some decent snow amounts if you get a heavy snow burst. And that is, of course, a headline. And that is big news for mid-March. That's the way it looks right now. I'll have an update tonight at 11.